welcome to Lin Cheung.
Hi John, hello everybody, afternoon, nice to see
all
you
the way
all.
up from Chesterfield.
That's right.
Lin, you are the reason we're having the conference today, really.
All my fault.
Yes. Saz and I were kind of, bouncing this idea around months ago. I thought, this could be a lot of fun and exciting. But we need one presenter who understands the potential and the excitement of this. So we've been doing a bit of work together in Sheffield, haven't we?
Yeah, we have for probably a couple of years now, I think, isn't it? Something like that. Yeah.
And you did this really excellent seminar on working with anxiety.
Yeah, because we do some CPD events in Sheffield on a Thursday night once a month for people. Partly to kind of get a bit of community going in Sheffield, to give people an opportunity to meet up and talk, working as a counsellor, psychotherapist in private practice and also actually in an organisation can be quite isolating. So we wanted to get those going, and I did. It was the first one actually, wasn't it, on anxiety, and there was a lot of interest in it. And I think that's what sparked it off for you, wasn't it, that there could have been an opportunity for something more for different modalities.
Yeah. So I said to you, would you consider it? And of course, Lin says yes, and here we are at 5 o'clock on a Saturday night.
That's right, in Edinburgh.
So thank you, Lin.
You're very welcome, John.
Yes. But in Chesterfield, you're in private practice, I guess?
Yeah,
you offer supervision.
I'm a TA practitioner. I'm a supervisor and trainer. I've got a private therapy practice in Chesterfield and also in Kegworth as well, which is just south of Nottingham. I do bits and bats of training. Sort of work independently mainly. I do a little bit with one or two training organisations, but predominantly I kind of run, one-off days on this, that and the other. In fact, we've got one coming up on the 8th of May, a full day on anxiety, actually. Yeah, a full day on anxiety.
So there might be something that you hear about anxiety and transactional analysis that makes you want to come to Sheffield and Temenos and do the workshop with Lin. And you also work online, you offer supervision via Skype as well. So.
Yeah, I can do, yeah.
So,
over to me?
Over to you, Lin.
Okay, great, thanks, John. Okay, so I can never remember, but I'm short-sighted or long-sighted, but what it means basically is I need to wear my glasses to see you and not wear them to see my notes. So I'll be doing a bit of this. Hopefully you won't find it too distracting. Okay, so I've already introduced myself, Lin Cheung. I'm going to look at the racket system, which is I think it's a very important piece of TA theory. It's a piece of TA theory that was developed by Richard Erskine and Marilyn Zalkman back in 1979. And I think the reason why I wanted to choose this was, there are lots of really helpful and useful models in TA, and many different ways, I think, of understanding what psychological processes people are using when they experience anxiety. But I find this one particularly helpful because I think it gives me a really good overview and a good picture of what might be going on for somebody when they are feeling anxious. And I think what's also really useful is it then gives me an indication and clues about where to go in terms of treatment, what direction to take, what sort of questions to ask. So what I'm going to do this afternoon is I'm going to present the model. I'm going to give an example of the model in practice, so a sort of composite client really that I've come up with. And then I'm going to talk through how it helps me, so some practical examples of how I use the model in practice with people in the therapy room. What I'm going to start with, though, is a story. And for that, I just need to go and get my book. So what I'm going to invite you to do with this is to listen to the story, to perhaps connect with what I'm reading to you. And I'd like to take your response afterwards. I'd also like to take a response from the chat room as well. So for those people who are online and listening and watching, once I've read the story, I'm also going to invite some responses from them as well. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to imagine that tomorrow is going to be the beginning of a major holiday, okay, in this area, a time when all the shops will be shut for several days, okay. So just a moment before I just reference the book, it's Ian Stewart and Van Joyn's TA Today that I'm borrowing this from. Okay, so you imagine that the shops are going to be shut for several days. Imagine too that it's also some time since you did any shopping, so you're almost out, completely out of essential food and provisions. You look at the time and you realise you've just got time to get to the shops before it shuts. So you leap in your car, off you go down there. Okay, you get yourself a checklist of the things you need to buy, and you set off when you get there. And then when you get there, they see there's quite a big crowd of other people actually on the same mission as you are, also stocking up for the holiday before everything shuts down. So keeping an eye on the time, you go around the shelves, you get all the items that you want. As you finish, you note with satisfaction just a few minutes before the store closes, so you did make it just in time. And you should have enough time just to get through the checkout. So you get to the checkout, the person behind the desk, scans everything through, tells you how much it is, and you go to get your money. And then you realise that you can't find it. You look again, it's still not there. And then you realise why. You've left it at home. So in your haste and in your hurry, you've come to the supermarket without any money. You don't have a credit card, you've got no checks on you. Okay. So there's a line of people building up behind you, and you tell the person behind the cash desk what's happened. You said, would it be all right for me to leave my name and address, take the goods and come back and pay you after the holiday? And the person says, no, sorry, it's not possible, we don't do that. So you now don't have time to go home and get your money before the shop shuts. You won't be able to get your goods. You'll have to go without them, and it's going to be several days before the shops open again. Now, as you realise this, how do you feel? Yeah? Okay. So, anybody willing to? I'm crying. Yeah. I'm going to put some of these up on the flip chart. Okay, so somebody feels like crying. Yeah. Okay, what have we got over there? Perhaps a bit too soon, they might not have caught up yet. Oh, stupid and embarrassed, yeah. I'm not going to get embarrassed on there, am I? Is that double R or double B? I can never spell that. Oh yeah, it's double. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else in the room would like to? You'd feel angry. You'd feel a flash of anger. Who would you feel angry with? The world. Yeah, angry with the world. Okay, somebody else. Defeated. Oh.
But not trustworthy by the shopkeeper.
Okay, yeah. I don't think I'm going to get that one on. Angry with self, hopeless and helpless.
Defeated as well?
Yeah.
Or involved.
Yeah. Okay, we could go on. All right. But I hope what you're getting from this is actually there's a huge difference, isn't there, in the emotional response that people have to this sort of scenario. Thanks, John. Okay, so different people, very different responses. The feeling that feeling that we've just identified is likely to be one that you probably feel when you've come up against these sort of stressful situations. It's likely to be the sort of feeling that you would commonly feel when you're faced with that kind of stressful situation. Okay. It's also likely to have been a feeling that was modelled or encouraged actually in your family, when maybe other feelings were discouraged or prohibited. Yeah, and it's certainly generally a feeling, normally one that doesn't actually solve the problem. Yeah. Okay. So what we've just described is a racket feeling. Okay, so going on to the PowerPoint now. Racket system, Erskine and Zaltman. I'm going to start off with a few definitions for you. Okay. Look at the first one. All right, so what is a racket?